Bonjour. So yes, we're the PanTayside team. We're actually the reduced PanTayside team. There are more members of the PanTayside team. We're very proud of our team. I'm very proud of my team. So I want to make sure that everybody knows who we are. So in Angus, PanTayside is Angus, Perth and Kinross, and Dundee. In Angus, we've got our lovely Natalie Burhand. We have also Jen Reed, who's working with us 2 days. Natalie and Jen are not here just now because actually they're going to present later on. Well, actually, it's probably especially Natalie. The rest of the team, so we have Anne Melville from Perth and Kinross. We have Lucie Maupetit from Dundee City Council, and I'm so pleased. I'm on top. No, I'm not really. We're a great team together, and we've really done great things. So hopefully you'll be happy with what we're going to show you now. We have created. Oh, is it me? Oh, am I supposed? I was not told. Oh, that's that. Oh, I'm going to press the wrong thing. Yeah, no, Lucie is, that's fine. So how did we come about with this? Really, without PowerLanguage, we would have never managed all that. So PowerLanguage, we developed the resources, as Nadine was saying, for water cycle, mini beasts, and bridges. And we agreed to try and develop these, to try and support our staff, because our staff were really overwhelmed by all the new initiatives coming their way. So we thought we're going to go and model and show them that really it is possible, that it's not that scary. Yes, so we decided to target target audience across all the levels. So we started with the mini beasts, and we went in primary 1 classes. This was a volunteering project. Then we offered a transition project, so we targeted a cluster in Dundee City Council, and that was really successful as well. And then we were asked by some schools, especially in Perth and Kinross, to go and do the water cycle project. So now the girls are going to.
Okay, so the format, as Nadine said, the resources were there for at least a good 10 weeks worth of work. We were not going in every school for 10 weeks in a row because we had other things to do as well as this. So we kind of restructured the resources so it fits in a 5 to 6 weeks project where we would go once a week to teach classes. With the little ones, P1, 2s, it was only 30 minutes at a time because there is plenty for the little ones. But for the B7s, we went up to 55 minutes a week and sustained 55 minutes, mostly in French, without any problem with them. So we organized it around a project. For the bridges one, because it was a transition project, we wanted to build in the assessment element to it. So we went there for 5 weeks, then we gave them a week to prepare, and then we went back where they delivered a presentation about a bridge of their choice in French. It was only 1 to 2 minutes long, but it was all in French from their own creating based on what we had worked. So it was really good. And it was really good preparation for them moving to second weeks because they realized actually we can do this, which was quite an improvement from the face they made the first time we arrived. So in terms of our role to upskill staff, we really wanted to make a point of giving some power to the staff to really work on their teaching of languages as well. It's not just us going in and delivering the lesson. We had given them tasks to do before we arrived. So prior learning, we wanted them to have covered specific things, which the majority of them did. And in between each week, they had to practice the things we had done with their class. And again, we provided them with activities and resources to do that. And the vast majority of the staff involved really took on the whole project and really felt a lot more confident afterwards. So that's what we did.
Okay, so the content of what we were doing, as Nadine said, it was a soft quill kind of a project, so we're looking at the actual subject content and some developing language skills as well. There were 4 kind of main areas that we wanted to cover, and the first one obviously is the subject knowledge specific to what we were doing. So in the case of the mini beasts, it was mostly science, a lot of geography, technology, all of those subject areas, but we were really looking at covering things that the children would have been covering if they'd been doing it in English. So it's not an add-on, it's something that they would have been doing anyway. The only difference is that we're doing it in French. So we want to show you a few examples of some of the kind of activities that we did. So for the content, for the scientific content, for the water cycle, obviously one of the main things that they were going to find out about was the actual processes involved in the water cycle. And this is an activity we did called Mapping from Memory. That's a big version, this is what we actually had. So we had a sheet like that. The children were working in groups of 4. One child at a time came across and had a good look at this sheet and had to remember a section of it. And then they go back to their group and they have to recreate that on their piece of paper. While they're doing that, the next one goes and has a good look. And so by the end of the session, hopefully they have created something that looks exactly like this, including the words, preferably spelt right. Which is a really good way of them remembering the processes in the order, remembering what happens. And so after that, the following week, we did a bit more assessment and showed that this would really help them to remember all of those processes. So that's just one of the activities that we did to support the actual content.
As well, the content, obviously, we are teaching a language, so we wanted to develop their knowledge about the language. There will be some vocabulary, no matter what you do, you will teach some vocabulary, but it goes much further than that. Even with the P1s, we go to sentence level very early on, and we work on a little bit of grammar, masculine, feminine. P1s don't have an issue with them. You tell them these are masculine, these are feminine, they accept it.
Teachers have an issue with it, but
it's when they get older that they don't want to accept it. But if you tell them that's how it is, in P1, they're quite happy with it. And a big focus on pronunciation throughout the years, doing little bits on pronunciation, because I find that that's something we don't do enough of. And that's what scares most teachers, is not being able to pronounce things. So why don't we actually teach different bits of pronunciation? Because it's not any more difficult than English, if I'm truly honest. And it probably is easier. So,
depends on who's talking.
yeah.
there again, you are French.
I am but there's more rules that applies in French. Anyway, so we did lots of activities. Obviously, we'll cover all the different significant aspects of learning, listening, talking, reading, writing. Even from P1, we can introduce little bits of writing. Granted, it will be mostly copying at word level, probably, for the writing, but we shouldn't be scared of introducing it. Same with the reading. A little bit of reading, keeping things simple. We shouldn't be scared of it. P1s are not scared of it. I think teachers are more scared of it than children are. Some of the activities we did very simple with pronunciation. We did that with our P7s. It was quite interesting. We were looking at different places, towns and countries where bridge might be located, and we looked at the pronunciation of the R, the on, and the O. The on being the tricky one because it doesn't exist in English. And we were naming towns or countries in French, and they had to, based on the sound they could hear in that word, either jump on the spot, or put their hand on their head, or cross their arms. It got really tricky when in the same one we had on and O. As we found out, it's quite challenging. But the pupils actually loved it, even P7s, which made me think we should do more of that in secondary, because we don't ask them to move from their chair in secondaries. Maybe we should. They actually really enjoyed anything that was out of their seat, moving around in the classroom. And just that focus on pronunciation, a lot of them commented on, oh yeah, actually, I feel a bit more confident now to see those things because they knew the rules. So that's language.
Okay, as well as the actual subject knowledge, we wanted to help them with some of the transferable skills, the skills that they're going to use in other contexts. So one of the things in the science side of things was classification, because that's something that they're going to use in lots of different areas of science. With the bridges in particular, they were having to do research, so they were using research skills. In a lot of them, they were doing presentations, so all the presentation skills as well. So with the classification for remember we're talking here about primary ones, primary twos. We're just looking at some of the basic characteristics of insects. So they had a selection of mini bees, some of them were insects, some of them weren't insects. We taught them a lovely little song.
Which we're not going to.
Which we're not going to.
Unless you behave, maybe later on.
Maybe later if we're bribed, but we taught them a little song that helped them to remember the basic characteristics that we're looking for, and then we had a sheet like that, which is, here's the real one. So they were looking for how many parts of the body? 3. I can remember. 3. How many legs? 6. How many wings? 4. Yeah, I can do the song. I can do the song. We're okay.
The song. Do you do it?
Do you want the song? Any excuse. Are we ready? Yes. It's to the tune of
Feel free to join in. You
oh, please do. Phones down.
But with the song as well, they had actions to do, and the kids decided on their own actions, so that helps them to remember it as well.
So that's the description of
The
technical.
Yes, the number of wings, the number of parts of the body, etc. Very technical.
Thank you, Lucie.
It's my fault, yeah. Okay. 4 ailes, 6 pattes, 2 antennes, 2 antennes. 4 ailes, 6 pattes, 2 antennes, 2 antennes. Un insecte a une tête, un thorax, un abdomen. 4 ailes, 6 pattes, 2 antennes, 2 antennes. And then with the kids, we won't do that now, but with the kids we start taking out a word at a time, as you would with head, shoulders, knees and toes. So they're doing the actions, but not actually saying the words. And then we sing it really fast at the end. And then they remember. And after they've learnt it through that, then they get a sheet like this, and so they can classify which ones are mini beasts and which aren't. And in between that lesson and the next one, we gave them another sheet with mini beasts that they weren't familiar with, because these are the ones that we've been working with them on for the previous weeks. We gave them a sheet with many beasts they weren't familiar with, and they used the same classification skills, which they can then transfer to any other area of science afterwards. They can do it with geology or anything.
Okay. Also, we included a lot of cooperative learning skills. Our authorities are big on that. There's a big push for cooperative learning. So we try to include it as much as possible. So for the bridges, we did an activity called Team Window, and so it enabled, well, what they had to do first. So they had a pile of cards. They had to take one card each at a time and say the mode of transport. So let's say it was à pied. So they would say, je voyage à pied. Et toi? And then the next one would say, oui, je voyage à pied. Or the next one would say, non, je ne voyage pas à pied. And according to the amount of pupils that say yes or no, they put their card on a sheet with different windows. So nobody would be 0, 1 person, 1, 2, 3, or 4. So really cooperative learning skills really enables them to take turns. The more reluctant pupils, the ones who are more scared to take part, feel more comfortable because they're in a small group, and their friends really are supporting them as well by saying, well, you know, I'm doing it, you'll be fine as well. So that enables them really to talk a little bit more. They listen to each other. So they listen to the target language as well, because we encourage them to do everything in the target language, and they learn from one another. Sometimes, you know, you've got, oh, you didn't say that quite right, that's the way you should be saying it, or, oh, I can't remember the name for this one, and, oh, it's un camion, or, so really, there's a lot of support through cooperative learning. And this, oh, sorry, was it you? Was it me? So this is some of the feedback we got. We're not really going to, I think you can all read from where you are, am I right? So I'm just going to leave it.
We leave it with you. The thing with the feedback is that I think it brings back what Sarah was saying at the start. There's huge amount of priorities being thrown at teachers, but from the feedback we got from this project, it kind of covers an awful lot of those priorities. It really supports all the inclusion agenda, the attainment challenge agenda, looking after your EAL children, just everything. There's some more here. So surprise with the ability of some of the less able pupils from P1. This is your level ground. That's where actually less able pupils feel as confident as anyone else because they're as able as anyone else. They're starting from scratch.
A lot of members of staff are worried about the EAL pupils. Will they cope? They have already their mother tongue plus English, but they're really the ones showing a lot of confidence because, yeah, well, I've got those skills. I'm using them when I'm learning English. So, yeah, I can transfer those skills and use them when I'm doing French in that instance.
They don't cope, they shine.
They shine. They
That's
do.
where
They
they
do
actually
shine.
It's their chance.
Get that
shine.
confidence, it's their chance, yeah. And you were saying that as well, you have been told would be almost non-verbal,
Yes.
not speak, and
Yeah, and as soon as we went into French, off we went.
and there was no French speaker.
No. Oh no.
That's basically the engagement, the ability, learning with parents. They're really about some schools to really engage with their parents because pupils were talking about what they were doing at home, took it into assembly and everything.
A lot of it is the confidence and actually working together and getting the confidence. And if they've got getting the confidence from P1 and P2, then it goes with them up to school, which is brilliant.
And for the staff, it was seeing how much the pupils could actually do. And if we're not doing it, we're kind of slowing them down because the children are up for it.
One of the other comments from one of the staff after we'd done, in fact it was the first of the water cycles lessons was, oh, actually I could do this.
Yeah.
And with the resources as they were as a kind of off-the-shelf package, she actually felt that she could take that on and take it further.
And then we've got, these are mostly from the P7 pupils feedback that we got, and that's just a very short selection from huge list of feedback. But yeah, it's not sugar and engaging, but once you do it, you enjoy it. The idea of working out what you were saying, the challenge came back in so many comments from the people. They want the challenge. A lot of them it was hard, but I enjoyed it. Which sometimes we try to water it down too much because we want to make it as accessible as possible. Actually, let's just bring it on and let them think about it. They learn stuff, isn't it? Good stuff.
Teaching them better word than stuff in English.